Are you driven by virtues like loyalty and honor, justice and mercy, bravery and self-control? Do superhuman feats of strength, endurance, and perseverance light a fire deep inside your belly? Are you ready to unleash your own special kind of mayhem? Then you've found your game. Join Mark Valenti and his guests as they discuss manliness, mental fortitude, strength and conditioning, history, the wisdom of the past, and all things savage.
Intelligence is a very valuable thing, isn't it, my friend? And usually it comes far too fucking late. Alfie Solomon's Peaky Blinders.
Did you hear? We've done it. If you haven't seen it yet, we just dropped an all-new line of gear at therefinedsavage.com. We have our signature Big Jim t-shirt, our Robin Hood of Collingwood t-shirt based on the Cleveland mobster Danny Green, and our girls' signature Refined Savage tank. All of these shirts are printed on Bella tri-blends and are super soft and durable. Head on over to therefinedsavage.com and order one today. Support the show, and we thank you very much.
Hey folks, as you know, I'm a big believer, as a lot of you are, in the ketogenic diet. And today I want to talk to you about a new sponsor to the show, Keto OS. Keto OS, Ketone Operating System, is a revolutionary drink mix based on a proprietary ketone energy technology. It delivers advanced macronutritionals and promotes optimized cellular regeneration, energy, and longevity. The patent-pending active ingredient, beta-hydroxybutyrate, is actually ketones that your body will absorb. The drink is delicious and comes in multiple flavors to suit all tastes. This is the perfect supplement for someone trying to adhere to a keto diet. Whether you eat strictly ketogenic or you carb load on some days, this drink will put you directly back into ketosis just by mixing and drinking. You will be in ketosis within 30 minutes of drinking it, and you can test it with a 9-strip or with your blood. So whether you want energy, mental clarity, reduced anxiety, reduced brain fog, better sleep, fat loss, better skin, better appetite suppression, you will get them all with Keto OS. You can check them out online at their website, SynSotoExperienceKeto.com. So that's Syn, C-Y-N, Soto, S-O-T-O, .experienceketo.com. SynSoto.experienceketo.com. And if you need any help or need any more information, just drop us a line here at the show, blinddogjim@gmail.com. Andrew Durniat, welcome to the show.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me up.
Yeah, we were just talking before you came in that we tend to run in some very similar circles, but I don't think we've had more than one or two conversations ever.
I think you were very accurate. Everything from the Ashland University connection with Judd Logan, and a lot of his throwers being mutual friends. Some of your members here are, good friends of mine. We've both, you competed in pro Highland Games. I did a bunch of the amateur games, did some Highlander stuff, but our paths were so similar, right, in so many ways. But I guess we've just not truly sat down together, right, and had a conversation, and then it was just like, hey, let's come up and let's do this, and put it all together.
I think the first time I actually met you was we had a Highland Games seminar at Ashland. It was me and Overfell and Adrian Wilson.
Yes.
And I think at that time you were doing like grip stuff.
Yeah, I was doing some grip, just coming off of traveling the world doing the Kettlebell sports circuit.
What was that like? What are the competitions like?
It is strength endurance to its purest self.
Right.
The competitions are 10-minute sets, and you can't ever set the weight down.
God.
you look at, people are like, oh, you get into the CrossFit craze. I'm like, okay, yeah, do your thrusters with that 135-pound barbell,
right,
but do it for 10 minutes and you're not allowed to set it down. And you have to hold it in the rack position. That's the only way you can rest.
Right.
That's the simplest way for layman to understand it. But I mean, when we did it, you had 32 kg kettlebell in each hand, so about 71 pounds.
Man, that's not a light kettlebell.
You're standing there with them on your chest, and then you're pressing them overhead nonstop for 10 minutes.
And it's just how many reps you get in that time?
Most reps in 10 minutes. And then you get 20 minutes to rest, and then you get to do a snatch set after that. So you get 10 minutes of jerks, a minimum of 20 minutes rest, and then you did a 10-minute snatch set where you do snatches for 10 minutes, again, nonstop, but you can only switch arms one time.
Still with the 32?
Still with the 32. So you're going 5 minutes on one arm, nonstop, switch arms, 5 minutes on the other hand, if you could survive the 10 minutes.
Right.
And with the snatches, grip became a very limiting factor. And so that's where I started getting into all the grip work, because I was like, man, I could do more reps if I could just hold on to this damn bell. And so that led me to, okay, how do I train my grip outside of doing the kettlebell work?
Right.
And then went around and happened to get in front of a few of the right people, like Jed Johnson with the Diesel Crew, and then Richard Soren of Soren X Exercise Equipment.
Yeah, Richard's kind of the old OG grip guy,
the original grip guy. And we were at the Strength and Conditioning National Convention down in Atlanta, and they had a booth set up there, and he had one of his Thomas inch dumbbells sitting there. And so I walked over. I was like, oh, the inch dumbbell. And he's like, oh, you know what this is? And bent down and picked it up. And he about fell over.
Yeah, I tried to pick one up at Ashland, and it isn't going anywhere.
He's like, what?
Yeah.
He's like, who are you and what the hell did you just do? I'm like, that's the inch dumbbell. And went into the history. I'd read all about it.
Yeah.
At that time, this was, probably 2009, 2010. There was maybe 5 of them in the U.S.
Yeah, right.
Nobody was casting them. Nobody was making them.
Yep.
And so they were these just odd things and I was like, but I'd heard of it. And so I had been doing grip training going, man, I would love to see one of these because it's a huge feat of strength.
Yeah.
To be able to just just break it off the ground is monumental strength world. And so Richard had one. He's obviously, a huge historian on the strength side of things.
Yeah.
And when I had that first opportunity to see an inch dumbbell, I went after it and was successful. And
I've tried to pick that thing up at Ashland every time I've gone down there. And every time I think, this is going to come off the floor. And every time it doesn't come off the floor.
Yeah, and grip is one of those attributes that is so, it's everything we do, your hands are the first thing to touch the implement, but it's also oftentimes the last thing we think of until it fails us. And then you're like, oh man, if I could just hold on to it, I could lift it.
That's a good point.
There's the ticket right there. Is, because, I've got an inch replica now at the gym, and everybody, the first thing people say when they can't do it, well, if I could hold on to it, I'm like,
that's the whole point.
That's the whole point. Yeah. I mean, and I get on my football guys, I was like, how many times in a year do you truly square off on somebody and just line them up square? It's on occasion. Those are those once in a lifetime, highlight reel, dude, I popped this guy square, just took him down. I was like, now how many times in a game are you locked in a block and you reach out with one hand to get a hand on somebody? I was like, if your grip is strong enough to grab that jersey, grab those pads, grab an ankle, grab an arm, and not let go, you're now a difference maker in the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's as simple as that. And they're like, oh yeah, that happens about every play.
Yeah.
My hands are, here, or I couldn't break the grip. I'm like, yeah. Wrestling is a huge grip-intensive sport.
I've never had, I think it came from being at Highland Games from the time I was 15. I never had an issue with grip strength ever. Never had to use straps, none of that stuff. I'm starting to get arthritis in both thumbs. And it was so depressing. Yesterday, this 16-year-old kid came in and shook my hand. Usually when a 16-year-old comes in, I'll give him a look, because he's kind of a pain in the ass. And I was giving him, and it hurt my hands to do it. And I just went, oh, fuck, I hope this, I can see all this horrible stuff coming. But this is a new thing. Just all of a sudden, both thumb joints. I'm feeling that arthritis in there.
To lock down.
So I don't know if straps are the future. And
they have their place.
Sure. Because I'm going to keep deadlifting.
Get the therapy putty out and manipulate the fingers and keep them. We know with arthritis that, hey, movement can help. And so sometimes it's, you look at it, okay, how have I been using my hands? Can I work them in a little bit different way just to manipulate it to make them at least feel good so I can continue to do what I want to do? I mean, now it's like, up until, 35 and now I'm hitting 40, it's like, body parts are starting to
it's crazy
talk to me a little bit. And it's just like, man, I'm not, we're all stubborn. We're all in this, so we've all been athletes probably since the age of like 6, 7 in some sort of organized sport. And for individuals like you and I, we haven't stopped moving since that age.
I'm afraid to stop moving at this point.
And that's just it. And then I look at, I got guys like Ode Hagen that's out there that's doing it at, what is he, 66, 67?
Or Louis still.
Louis still, cranking away. And so you go, people are like, oh, but it doesn't hurt. I'm like, yeah, but it hurts more to stop.
Yeah, what we do isn't necessarily healthy.
No.
But the alternative is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like, and giving up and giving into that is not part of our makeup. You don't get to the professional Highland Games level by giving in easily.
Yeah.
You don't step on some of the stages and in some of those arenas because comfort is where you like to live. I was talking to a client the other day. I was like, we start, being uncomfortable is our comfort zone.
Yeah.
If we don't have that compression, if we don't have that feeling of struggle.
Hey guys, let's talk about Max straps. Steve McCracken has put out these awesome wrist straps that I started using well before he was a sponsor to the show. He sent me these straps and I beat the crap out of him in the gym. Heavily, overly engineered straps that will really support your lifts. I highly recommend them. Steve is now a sponsor to the show, and we couldn't be happier about that. You can check out his straps and all his other equipment at Max Barbell. That's MAC' Barbell on Facebook, or drop us a line here at the show, blinddogjim@gmail.com, and we'll get you in touch with Steve. Great wrist straps, great people.
We feel kind of weird.
Do you have a hard time? I have a real hard time relating to people who don't train, and they don't have to train with weights, but they don't have some kind of discipline. They're
not striving for something.
Right. You see them on Facebook talking about how much they love to eat this disgusting food or drink water. They make fun of somebody for working out. It's just like, I don't even understand how we're the same animal. Because that wouldn't even...
There's and I get into, we joked about it even before, it's just the whole social media aspect of everything that's coming about. And there's a very, if social media, we started training and doing this before social media was even a thing.
Absolutely.
Nobody was watching what
How
we
did
were
anybody
doing.
get strong before the internet?
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Dude, we were lifting stones, doing cleans, kettlebells, doing circuit training. That's not new to us.
Right.
What's new to us is the social media aspect of, hey, I got to snap a freaking photo of myself doing this to highlight my gym and my company so other people want to come in here. And so I get a lot of people want, I see a majority of people are wanting the highlight reel.
Right.
But they don't understand what comes before the highlight reel.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to be on SportsCenter's top 10. I'm like, that's great. But do you understand, that's not just because they wanted to be there.
And what's crazy is you see so many people on social media that are in their 20s who I don't quite understand how, and being an old man, I don't quite understand how they became famous, but they've got super successful YouTube channels, and that's all great.
Yeah.
Hey, more power to them. I just don't get it.
I'm just where does this...
How is this 405? How are you this famous,
Yeah, it's great, you're doing well, but that's an average lift.
But I think it's more that I just don't get it. I mean, this is an actual thing. People, you've got a successful YouTube channel. People are tuning into it, and you're some kind of celebrity that my brain just hasn't evolved enough to understand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
I don't begrudge them. God help them. They're kicking ass.
Getting after it, but it's just that it's hard to understand some of that.
Yeah.
But I think it also can lead to some disappointment in the new trainee when they're like, I've been doing this for 5 minutes. Where's my paparazzi?
Where's my reward?
Yeah, where's my reward? And it's like, sorry, man, it's not that simple. And, I also laugh. Sometimes it's like, I'll make social media posts, I'll make Instagram posts. And the posts that get sometimes the most likes out of anything are the stuff that are just like the harebrained, like training ideas of, this will be fun. This will look cool on social media.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. You're so hardcore. I'm like, I don't do that but once a year.
Right. I'm fucking around here.
That's me dicking around.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? I was like, yeah, because the sets and rep stuff is boring.
Yeah, right.
Is monotonous. Unfortunately, that's what works and gets better. And you go and you talk to all the other, top athletes. It's like, well, how you going? I got to go and I got to do this. And it's what I got to do to keep myself going. I got to do my, if I'm over 30, really over the age of 20, I got some sort of rehab protocol I got to go through to manage my injuries. I can do this. And then I show up to an event and it looks easy.
We're both, I'm sure you know Matt Vincent.
Yes.
So I was just talking to him a couple weeks ago. We called, we touch base every once in a while, but it's interesting for me when you think about what goes into his vlog and how that vlog runs his company and how every aspect of his life he's thinking about that. And he's in New Year's with his wife out in Sedona, and he's got to think about putting together a vlog because people are interested in his life.
Yeah.
And that's got to be stressful that, oh shit, I just had a conversation with this guy. And matter of fact, we were on the phone together and we talked for probably an hour and a half. Mm-hmm. And at the end he said, shit, this should have been on the podcast. I
should have recorded this.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. This has got to be a conversation. And that's, the podcasts are out there and everybody's like wanting to have these conversations. And, it's great, being here in studio today where it's like, all right, it's a face-to-face conversation. Yeah. I'm not on a Skype call. I'm not on I'm not.
I won't do the Skype
calls. And I think I was listening to NPR earlier on the way up here, and it was just like they were talking about how the social media it's brought us together, but it's actually separated us apart because we don't have you think you get a conversation with somebody via text or via social media, but there truly is a disconnect there because you don't have. There's so much more to a conversation that is a conversation without language being spoken back and forth.
I can't tell you how many times my wife and I have gotten into an argument because she took something wrong I said via text and I had to go back.
Oh man, yeah,
and I can't spell or do anything, so it's a pain in the ass anyhow.
So you got sausage fingers,
right?
And then autocorrect kicks in there, and you throw in a word that's like, where did that come from?
She's like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Like, no, this is what I meant.
It's like, where are you at? Pick up the phone. I want to actually talk to you.
Yeah, that's usually when I get the call. And I'm like, oh no,
you gotta actually pick up the phone.
I won't do the Skype calls. And a friend of mine, Powell, keeps trying to get me to do Skype calls because I could go and get guys from across the country. But I like sitting in a room with somebody where everybody's focused, when our phones are put away and we can just have a conversation. And, here we are in the hotbed of strength and conditioning.
Ohio, this is like,
there's plenty of people around here.
Yeah, plenty of people. And you look at some of the strongest gyms in the country.
Yeah. Right here.
Ohio is, it's the heart of it all, man.
I had a guy, I was on Tom Soroka's podcast, and he billed me as an expert in the conjugate system. And as he said that, we were doing a Skype interview, and he said that, and I'm in fucking Ohio. There's, West Side, CrossFit Conjugate, and all, I'm like the number 7 guy in Ohio.
Exactly.
But when you're in Ohio, we don't have anything but strength training.
And people are like, why are all the strong people in Ohio? I was like, well, there's not much else to do in Ohio. Yep. So what do? You train your ass off.
Yep. For
all the time. In the
3 months out of the year, you look good on the beach.
Yeah. You train in the wintertime to stay warm and keep going. And in the summertime, it's not like, I go out. My brother lives in Denver. And I'm like, man, like, you don't need a gym in Denver.
Right.
You got freaking mountains. Like, he's mountain biking, running, hiking. Like, what you doing? Oh, we went and climbed a 14er just for fun to have lunch. And it's like, you guys are physically active.
Yeah.
You don't need a building to go and exercise to be healthy.
Wouldn't that be incredible to be able to go out and climb a mountain or something?
It's awesome. Yeah, I got to drive 8-9 hours to get up to Lake Placid and do that. And my friends and I, we go and we do that. We enjoy that. But it's a concerted effort to do that. Where, otherwise you got the county fairs that run around everywhere, and you can go and you can see the other side of society. You can go, man, all right, I hang out at the gym all day, and I see people that are constantly, like you said, striving to be better than they were the day before with their physical health, strength, conditioning, however, whatever their individual goal is. And you go to the Wayne County Fair and see the absolute opposite.
Just getting their
deep
fried Twinkies.
Deep fried butter, give me deep fried this. And you're just like,
I have a real hard time going
divide
out with people. So, everyone in the gym, makes fun of me. And my wife does too for, being an agoraphobic or whatever. But it's not that. It's, I have a hard time relating with people who don't get my trip. So, they're talking about Ohio State football or Cleveland Indians, and I don't get into any of that shit. And they're like, well, you train athletes. Why wouldn't you? I enjoy that. When I had the NFL Network, my mother bought my son, who's a huge football fan, the NFL Network for like 6 months. The only thing I watched on there was the Combine. I was fascinated by the Combine. I could care less about what got them to the Combine,
Same way. A friend of mine, Chris Rice, is, he's one of his quotes that I stand by as well is, sports are to be played, not watched.
Right? Yeah.
I play sports. I don't watch sports. If I've got a family member, yes, I'm going to go in on a watch. I'm going to support them in their, because I have a direct, attachment to that sport. But for the most part, I want to go play.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with like climbing mountains, and I'm probably the one guy right now that's just out there. I've done just about every physical.
Well, that was one of the things I was going to bring. I started when I first met you. You were a grip guy going to Highland Games. You're doing your kettlebells, and then I know you've got some great strongman and powerlifters at your gym. And now I'm hearing you're doing like endurance, crazy shit races.
I grew up playing ice hockey. In grade school, all through high school. Started playing lacrosse in high school. Went to college. Was an All-American lacrosse player at Ohio Wesleyan. Coached lacrosse for 4 years, and then it was like, okay, now what do I do? I've been on these team sports my entire life. Now it's just sort of me, and there wasn't a whole lot. There wasn't really a club system. There was, it's very sporadic, and so that's what led me to the strength sports. And so I think I just typed into Google one day with like ultimate conditioning, and kettlebells popped up right off the bat. That was when kettlebells were starting to come out with Pavel and the RKC, the Russian Kettlebell Challenge, 2001. So I was like, well, this looks interesting. What's this all about? So tried it out, did a few things with some dumbbells, their philosophy and their sets and rep schemes. I was like, I think there may be something to this. Ultimately picked up a couple of bells and then got in with Steve Cotter and Steve Maxwell and Jeff Martone, and those guys were starting to get into the competition aspect. And I was like, all right. And so Steve Cotter was like, hey, there's a group of us heading to Moscow in like a month or two. You want to go? Competition, I got changed over to Latvia, Riga, Latvia, last minute. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to.
When you don't get invited to go to Latvia very often.
Yeah, so I'm like, all right, I'll go to Latvia. And plane got diverted. I was wandering around the downtown streets of Latvia at like 1 a.m. wearing the Team USA jacket, going, I just screaming, mug me, please. I'm like trying. I didn't speak a lick of Russian at the time. I'm like, this is not the time to not educate myself in the country I'm going into. So
that's a whole different set of rules over there.
Yeah. So, like I said, you can be a proud American all you want, but you drop your ass off in a foreign country and you don't speak the language and you don't have the money. Let me tell you what, you'll straighten up real quick.
Yeah.
And fall in line. So it's, but, had a great experience. It was just eye-opening experience of going in and seeing world class and world championship lifters. I thought I was doing well. I think I did like 48, 50 reps that first comp over there. And then I watched Silly Ginkgo next to me do like 130 some reps, and he was like a sewing machine.
Yeah.
Just going up and down.
And what happens if you put the kettlebell down? You're out?
Your set's over. Your set's over. And so I'm watching. I'm like, wow, okay, I thought I was in good shape. I thought I was strong. I thought I was conditioned. And I was like, I came back from that going, I'm nothing.
Yeah.
I got a lot to learn. And so it was the best experience, one-time experience at that time. And then it was, so the next couple of years, the U.S. contingent, North American contingent, we would travel around. So then I think we went back to Hamburg, Germany the next year. Following year was back in Latvia. I picked up and learned some Russian by that time, so in case I got dumped off somewhere, I could at least not get myself in too much trouble. And then bounced all around the U.S., just doing different comps there and getting in front of people and meeting people.
Yeah.
While I was working with the American Kettlebell Club, they sent me around with America's Strongest Man with their 105 pro shows around the country. And so got to hang out with, I basically was living with Marshall White and Nick Best and a lot of the pro strongmen at that time. And I,
soak it all up.
I was just taking it all in and just, my job was basically to go out, promote kettlebells, but then, promote myself and trying to impress people at big crowds with strongman movements. And so, we were down. It was America's Strongest Man down in, I think, Dallas, Texas. I forget the year on it. They had Bill Kazmaier announcing and stuff, and they were doing the farmer's walk to yoke medley. I forget what they were using a hand. I think it was probably like 300 a hand or something.
Probably
but,
at least.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, and I was like, knowing my grip was strong, I was like, oh, 300 a hand, that's not bad.
Right.
One of the guys didn't finish the farmer's walk course, and so they were getting short on volunteers for resetting the course. But they were putting the torpedo tubes up on dollies and bringing them back, and they had a forklift to reset stuff. Well, for whatever reason, they had all the equipment resetting the other lane. So I just went down, I grabbed the farmer's handles, and I walked him back.
Right.
Great move in one sense, bad move in another sense.
Yeah, I can understand that, yeah.
Bill Kazmaier's on the mic. He's like, and we have the strongest crew walking around here as well. And then...
if anything, you want to over-dramatize
the other guy that's in charge comes over and is like, that was good, but don't ever do that.
Yeah.
He's like,
I used to get
he's
so
like, you got some really big guys here that just failed on that, and you just walk them back. He's like... We're trying to sell, but I had a few people come down from this. Can I get your autograph? That was impressive.
Yeah.
These guys are huge, and you just went over and made it look easy.
I used to get, the amateurs that would come help us with cabers, and big strong guys. Yeah, we can all pick up a caber, but they would pick it up by themselves and walking across the field.
It's like two people on the caber.
Exactly.
And that's through doing different events, and you start to learn that. You're as much of an entertainer as you are a competitor.
Absolutely.
And when those big crowds, it's like down at the Arnold. You're up on that stage. You're huge. Like, yes, we're all trying to compete, but we're honestly there for the crowd.
Yep.
You're here to put on a show.
We just had this conversation with Sean and Chris Vaccio last weekend for Odin's Challenge. They were in here, and Christina Bagma from Indiana had put up a post about how she had to pay $120 for this kind of local strongman show, and it got into all the money that's involved in where it's going and a pro class in strongman. And I had a talk with one of the strongman promoters who had said, "Oh, you'd be really impressed with our pro class and come from Pro Highland Games." I was like, ding, 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 pro what? You know, let's, because he had a pro masters class too. And I said, well, you know, what's the payday like at a lot of these competitions? He's like, oh, well, you know, we don't pay you, but, you know, you get free gear and we'll, you know, try to get your hotel rooms paid for. And I'm like, amateurs and Highland Games get that shit, you know, that this isn't a pro class, but the difference is in Highland Games, it's a show. It's a festival. People are coming. And we learned at a very young age coming up from the amateur to the pro circuit that you better put on a show and get these people to come back every year or your money's gone. Yeah. And I posted a video on that thread of, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Dan McKim or somebody throwing the caber at our national championships in Bethlehem. And there's 50,000 people over 2 days at this festival. So, I mean, he throws his caber and they just go insane. And I'm like, this is where your money's at.
This is where it is.
It's not people paying their entry fee.
It's not the entry fee.
Yeah.
It's people paying the door and their beer money and their brats and their sauerkraut and everything at the festivals. I mean, Dublin Highland Games.
Absolutely.
Dublin Festival. Just like
Dublin's huge.
I mean, we'd go there, we'd play. We always made sure that, okay, we're going to do these events. The event order was based on the time of day you'd get to the event, so you'd have the most people, which band was going to be playing, because we were there to entertain the crowd. Yeah, you know, we put the sheaf and the weight over bar closer to the fence because people can be up close, a little bit more personable with the athletes. You got, you know, you could do the weights for distance. You kept off to the side because nobody really understood how heavy and hard a 56 is to throw, so they're not going to understand why that one go far and this one doesn't. Yeah. What's the big deal? You know, and so, but with weight over bar, it goes up and the weight hits the ground, the whole ground shakes.
And you can see it. Oh, it went over a bar.
It went over a bar. So there's a lot of visuals that come into play.
And my first year was there this year as a master, and it was they didn't have pros. I know I don't think they didn't have
for a while,
but. You know, we were right on top of the crowd, and some little girl had a pet sheep, so I was taking the pet sheep and putting it in different spots on it, and the crowd was loving it, you know.
They love it.
And they'll remember that.
Yeah. And so it was, you know, always something that you would strategically play to the crowd. And, and the crowd, you know, pumps you up, they give you energy, and you got to give it right back because the organizers are seeing, hey, we're holding their attention, which means they're selling. The vendors are selling goods. We're keeping people in the fence.
That's where the money is.
That's what they want. So they're like, "Oh, you guys are a good investment. We'll bring you guys back if you keep playing to the crowd, talking to people, keep people's interest, milling around." I mean, that's where it's at. And so, you know, I mean, you even look at the Arnold with the Strongman Festival. It's like that equipment needs to be bigger than life.
It's super impressive looking.
Because otherwise, you know, and that's, you know, I mean, you know, people get it, powerlifting. I'm like, yeah, but you know what? A 315-pound deadlift and a 600-pound deadlift look the same.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm sorry. It doesn't matter.
But you put some big wagon wheels out there.
You put some wagon wheels out. The Hummer tire deadlift. Yeah. Oh, my God. It's Hummer tires.
I like that a lot better than the regular.
Now they go to the regular deadlift bar, and it's like, you know, they're going from 3 tires to 4. That gets people going nuts.
Right.
Like, oh, man, they're putting another big tire on there.
Right.
Well, it could have weighed the exact same thing as all those plates, but people understand what a truck tire is. They don't understand what a weight plate is.
And I think that was what made World's Strongest Man so popular on ESPN back in the day.
It was just weird, odd stuff. And so then they started standardizing things, which from an athlete standpoint makes sense, but from a spectator standpoint, it's a little bit harder to understand those little nuances if you've never lifted a log over your head, which most people haven't.
Yeah.
You know, I've done, you know, even with the grip stuff, we do performing strongman acts, rolling up frying pans, tearing phone books. Rolling up a frying pan will get way more reaction out of anybody I know than ever bending the hardest piece of short steel.
Right. Everyone's had their hands on it.
Everybody's had a frying pan. Yeah. But a piece of short steel, I can get into, this is, you know, grade 8, you know, steel. Who cares? You know, that's a frying pan. Right. Oh, my God. Like, they'll lose their shit over it. you know, they used to know what a phone book was. And so you'd tear those. Now you can't find them. You know, so you go on to something else.
Yeah, someone delivered a phone book. They delivered a phone book to my house. It's still sitting between my mailbox.
So, so the Performance Act, I remember it was the performance aspect. It was talking with Slim the Hammerman.
Oh yeah,
went to his induction out at, there was a York barbell induction out in York, PA. Yeah. And I went over and was able to actually meet the legendary Slim. And one of the things that he said, he's like, as a strongman, you are a performer first.
Right.
He's like, if you're going to break a chain, break the shiny one, not the dull one. Yeah. The shiny one's going to look more impressive. He's like, it could be way easier. He's like, but they don't know that.
Right, yeah.
He's like, you're there to impress people.
Yeah.
And
we used to, we had the gimmick, Kerry Overfelt and I would go to competitions, and he was the good guy and I was the bad guy. And, I would make horrible comments about him when he was throwing, and everyone would cheer for Kerry, and they'd boo for me, and I was like, great, just give me the money.
Yeah, But you know what? It keeps people going. They're like, man, I can watch you guys all the time.
And they'd come back the next year and boo me.
Yeah, and remember. You know exactly who you are. But it's the entertainment side of things that when you're out there, you train your butt off to be the best thrower, lifter, whatever, and then when you get to the top echelons, you start to realize, I'm just a court jester.
Absolutely, right?
Is what we are.
You're entertainers.
We're freaking here to entertain.
It's like pro wrestling or whatever, anything else you're doing like that.
That is it.
So you got done with the kettlebells, and did you open the gym at that time?
I was doing the personal training. That was paying the bills.
Were like other people's gyms?
Yeah. So, I was bouncing around to so many gyms for so many years until I had the clientele and the money to basically say, okay, now I'm here.
Right.
You come to me.
Yeah,
I'm tired. I've been driving all over creation. And so have been in Worcester doing the personal training since 2005. We just moved into we just moved in. It was 6 years ago that we moved into the location that we're at now. And now we've got about, I can't remember. I think 14,000 square feet of freaking
nice.
It's crazy what we have. And it's just, we've got everything. We've got.
Is that the largest building in Worcester?
It's
got to be.
And we've got Zumba classes a couple nights a week. Ladies come in, they're getting after it, sweating. We've got Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu classes. They've got their own separate area that they go and do everything. We've got just a whole selectorized machine area, and then we've got the main weight room floor, which is very much like yourself, which has power racks, stall mats on the floor everywhere. We've got a jungle gym in the back, got a bouldering wall.
So you got a lot of the climbing walls and stuff now too.
So like I said, I went from kettlebells, got into kettlebells. I call sort of like gateway drug into the strength world of that led me to dabbling in some Olympic weightlifting, which introduced me to two guys that were doing the Highland Games, so started doing some amateur Highland Games, and in with the grip, and then traveling around with the America's Strongest Man. I started to meet people all over. Got up with Matt Vincent back. Oh man, this was years ago. We went down. They did a Pro-Am show down in Shreveport, Louisiana, and so it was a Highlander where they were mixing that, and so those were starting to be bigger. I want to say that was 2010, 2011-ish, where they were trying to do a big national Highlander combining 3 Highland Games events, 3 strongman events, and so it didn't work out for me to get to the national championships that year. Matt Vincent went that year. He won it that year. I ended up going the next year, won it the next year. It was out in some place in Nebraska is where it ended up being. But they had a big showdown in Shreveport, and they brought in a bunch of us. And we were there to entertain and do stuff. And they had, an axle medley, and then we had like an axle deadlift for reps. And we did a farmer's carry sled drag medley, which was awful because it was like 40 yards out in the field and back. It was just terrible. And then we had one of those like Stein throws where it was like 100, the one of the open throws was 130-pound stone for distance.
Yeah, that's always brutal.
Yeah, and so that, Andy Vincent ended up winning that one. And then we had open stone and heavyweight for distance for Highland events.
Yeah.
So that was, played around with that. Did some amateur strongman shows just in and around the area. But then the grip was sort of like that next main thing, and that's where I got in with Ode Hagen and his the Fit Expo out in L.A.
Yeah, what a good athlete that guy is, man.
Yeah,
he can do it all.
He's just been around forever, and so he was promoting some big-time grip events, trying to get grip more into the mainstream, I guess, and putting them into big shows where, grip's always been that sort of like backyard, in your garage type.
British guys are doing that.
Yeah. So Ode, Ode was one of the first guys to put some serious money where he was putting, I think it was like $1,000. He was paying our way. He wasn't paying our flights out, but he was covering all our bases once we got there, and then the prize money. Was like $1,000. I think it was $2,000 for the first place, 15 for second, 1,000 for third. And
solid.
So I was like, all right, I can at least pay for. I felt like going out there against, and that was going to entice the pro strongmen to stick around for an extra day and quote unquote play with stuff.
Right.
And then it was enough to entice someone like myself to go out there, and so it was quite the experience to truly, I'm competing with Mark Felix and Mike Burke and some other really strong guys that I look at it like, you're stronger than
Felix
me.
This is one of the most weirdly gigantic people I've ever met in my life.
Such a nice guy as well. And it's just like, so we got in there and did it, and I was at the LA Fit Expo. The best part, I think, that really got a lot of the pro strongmen to understand it is that year at World's Strongest Man, they did the car deadlift hold for time.
Yeah.
But they allowed them to use straps at World's Strongest Man. And so I think it ended up being 750 pounds total. It was a hold for time with straps. We did it at the Fit Expo, 700 pounds on a trap bar, hold for time. And I'm going, he had told me it was going to be an 18-inch pick. And then we get out there and find out, no, it's just short forward. It's standard pick. And I'm going, crap.
Pretty damn big deadlift.
Yeah.
Forget about the whole.
I'm like, can you help a brother out? Like, I may not stand up with that. And he just looks at me and he's like, shut up. You're strong. Get out there and lift. If you've met Ode, that's Ode. He does not care.
Yeah.
But he does things heavy. So I was like, all right. So I've got my Ray-Ban shorts on. I got knee sleeves. I'm like, belt as tight as I could possibly get. I'm going,
take a shot.
I got to go out and pull on this
thing.
And I knew if I could stand up with it, I could hold on to the damn thing. It's not my grip that's going to give out. It's whether I can stand up with this damn thing. So I go out and pull what has been told to me is the slowest deadlift I've ever seen. But I got it all the way up. And then I proceeded to stand there and hold it for 48 seconds.
Yeah. Wow, that's super impressive.
Which was awesome. It comes down, and I'm just like, thank God I stood up with that thing. And Mark Felix beat me. I think he did like a minute, 8 seconds. And I'm just like,
Didn't kill you, though.
Didn't kill me. I come over, and Nick Vest is there. And he's like, I didn't understand you guys. He's like, but now I do.
Yeah.
He's like, we did that at Worlds like 3 months ago. I had straps on. Yeah, it was 50 pounds heavier, but you beat me.
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't understand it until right now.
Right.
And he's like, from that moment on, he's like, that was impressive.
Right.
He's like, it finally related, and it was just, because those guys lift. I mean, they're strong.
Yep.
They're stronger than me. They're stronger than I'll ever be. But it was the one moment we were able to relate to them. And then when you get to the crowd, again, you got to make things look big.
Yeah.
And when it does come out of your hands, it's got to make a big crashing sound. Right. Oh, man, did you see that? It shook the whole stage. It must have been heavy. I don't know what it was, but it bounced everything. It was heavy. So
that's it. You know, as I never understood grip stuff either. And like I said, I always had a really good grip. And when you hear stuff like that, and 48 seconds to hold 315 pounds is a long ass time. Just try that. Go into your gym and deadlift 315 and just stand there and hold it. But it's a whole different strength with those grip guys, and it's a lot of, from what I've seen playing with just little things, is a lot of being able to handle pain too.
There's in the bit that I look at with grip. I mean, you look at your hands. There's not a lot of muscle mass in your hands or your forearms compared to legs, chest, back. Mm-hmm. You know, so when your legs fatigue, you know it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're trembling, the whole body. You can barely. The hands don't, they get tired, but it's tendons and ligaments.
Yeah.
They don't fatigue. They go and they break.
Yeah.
And so there's not a lot of in between. And so you'll see grip guys will be training, they'll build up the volume. That's building that tendon ligament strength with lots of volume. Or they get injured, and if they're injured for 6 months to a year because they're popping stuff.
Yeah.
And it's happened. I mean, we did, at the Arnold, for the Mighty Mitts, we were doing rim lifts with plates. I think there were 200-pound plates from Zolvers. But it was on this rim, and there were numerous guys that popped pulleys and tendons in their fingers because they grabbed it. It slipped a little bit, and then they re-grabbed. Yeah. And just like a bicep tendon on a stone, if that stone slips and you re-grab it, it's going to go. Yeah. Guys are doing that with their fingers. And I talked to Tex Henderson, and he still, to this day, from 3-4 years ago, has a bump and a knot on his hand where that tendon just rolled up. He's like, my hand's not been the same ever since.
Yeah, so really interesting.
It's, it is different in that way. And like I said, you don't notice your grip until it fails you.
Right.
And then you're looking at your hands what do I do?
Yeah.
It's you can train that.
Yeah.
But it does take time, and it's usually very small, intricate things that you don't think of. Mm-hmm. And so when I'm working with people that want to get their hands stronger, it's you've got to integrate it into what you're normally doing all the time. A fat hand, the fat grips are probably the easiest and simplest thing because they can slap on any bar, and go. And so if you've got access to axles,
Yeah, we throw in axles just for that reason. It's okay, we're going to do a floor bench today. Well, let's do it with the axle.
Just to work the grip a little bit. I always say, most people are doing some sort of bent over row or dumbbell row. I look at, if you're doing a rowing motion, put a fat handle on it and go.
Easy stuff, and it's going to improve your deadlift. For sure.
And it's what you're probably doing those motions anyways. So throw a fat handle on it and add that in.
Yeah.
When you get into the grip comps, then you can get into the intricacies of adding pinch and doing some extra stuff there.
Right.
But for most people, a fat handle will cover most of your bases.
Yeah. The first thing I ever did grip wise was a Rolling Thunder.
Yeah.
It was Shoemaker's competition. I'm trying.
Yeah.
What the fuck's a Rolling Thunder? I'm texting. I'm what do I need to buy? Tell me what this is. And I go and get one. And
here's a $40 piece of equipment, and then you load it up, and you're like, well, I thought it was strong, and all of a sudden, a little bit of weight, and it's popping out of your hands, and it just goes.
Yeah,
that's and just it. I mean, I've seen big, strong 800-pound, 900-pound deadlifters that can't stand up with 400 pounds on an axle bar. When you start doing a double overhand, and you're seeing these guys that they've got the strength, and their whole body is cavitating, just shaking. And you're going, you put that on a regular bar,
it'll blow it right up.
You do 10, 15 reps with it. You put it on an axle bar, and the hands are shutting down the rest of the body, and making that weight look like it's massive for these huge guys. And that's where, from an athlete standpoint, regardless, work the hands a little bit. Yeah, you don't have to get fanatical like some of the grip guys and just do grip.
Right.
And even when you look at the top grip guys, they're all just strong individuals.
Right.
I mean, there's not one person there that's not a strong person.
Right.
And they have really strong hands.
Yeah.
So
Just where they're best at.
Yeah, it was where they're best at. It was where I happened to have a great affinity to, and so I took it and ran with it, exploited it the best I could, and said, all right, here I am. Yep. You know.
So what are you doing now?
Now that I'll be 39 in 4 days.
Yeah.
You know, my brother, he was doing some triathlons, did an Ironman. I've gone to all of his Ironman competitions.
Like Ironman as in Hawaii?
Not in Hawaii. There's others around the U.S.
Okay.
The one in Hawaii is the World Championships.
Okay.
So you got to qualify hardcore to just go there.
Gotcha.
I think there's a lottery that you could get lucky, but I mean, yeah, play the jackpot here in Ohio and see how lucky you get for that too. So he did his first one in Louisville, Kentucky, and then he did one out in Boulder, Colorado. And after his one in Boulder, he's like, all right, next one I want to do with you. And I was like, it's been a decade since I've really ran anywhere.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to get in shape. But I was intrigued. It was the most impressive thing I've ever seen. Just like being around the strength sports and seeing huge lifts is impressive. But then when you see somebody literally move nonstop for 15 to 17 hours, swimming 2.4 miles, they bike 112, and then they're like, oh yeah, now I'm going to run a marathon. Nonstop.
Right, yeah.
And I mean, I remember taking a nap during his first one, like while he was on the bike, and then getting up and going, he's been on, I took a 2-hour nap. I'm tired of just watching.
And they're sprinting in transition.
And they're just going.
There's no rest.
I was like, this is just impressive beyond belief.
Yeah.
At a different level than the strength sports. And so he was like, I want to do the next one with you. I was like, this is not a next year process.
Yeah, right.
This is going to take some time. So did a half Ironman the following year, which, I mean, took oogles of training just to get to that point, knowing that was just a stepping stone to a full Ironman, which we did in Boulder, Colorado this past summer. Finished my first Ironman.
So your first full Ironman you decided to do in Boulder?
Yes.
I mean, so the altitude is going to be a big problem, right?
Yeah. So you're a strength athlete. We don't always think logically and smart.
I thought you were going to give me some scientific reason why it wasn't so bad.
Come on. You know how this game's played. Again, no, you don't get to a special place by thinking rationally.
Right.
You
say, I could do that.
You got to be a little nuts. Like I said, you don't. No top level athlete is a rational thinker.
Right.
You got to be a little crazy. So. Mainly, my brother lives in Denver, and I was like, "Oh, sweet, you'll travel." He traveled to Indiana for the half Ironman. I was like, "Well, I'll repay the favor. I'll go to Boulder.
Right.
Looks like a gorgeous place. Let's go and do this." And everybody's like, "Oh, the altitude." I'm like, but everybody else is dealing with it. It's not like this is the first time they've done this here. And I'm the person where it's like, dude, if that person can do it, if another human's done it. It can be done. It's not like I'm the first person to do an Ironman in Boulder. It's like thousands of people do this just about every year. It can be done. So went there, did it, had a great experience. I mean, wasn't even across the finish line, and I was like, yeah, definitely we'll do this again. This was truly an awesome experience. Yeah. And it was just that mindset of, wow, yeah, I've always been just impressed with the human body, what the human body can do and withstand. From the strength aspects of just when you look at the hundreds of pounds and sometimes thousands of pounds that will lift, the forces that happen when throwing weights. Yeah. And when you really look at the force production, I mean, when you're spinning in a circle with a 56-pound weight and how much force that weight is generating on your limbs, and you're the focal, you're the pivot point in the middle. And you look at how that is just multiplied. And you're like, man, that's thousands of pounds, and you're not only spinning with it, but doing it in a controlled manner and projecting it where you want it to go.
Yeah.
And and then doing it with proficiency that, okay, yeah, there's only, 40 other guys in the world that are going to do it to the same level as you. That's
amazing,
impressive.
though. You like you said, being amazed with what the human body can do. You look at a Hapthor in strongman, or you look at the top Ironman guys, or these the Courtney Dahlwater who ran that
240-mile race,
or you look at
just smoked everybody by 12 hours.
Yeah. And then you look at someone like Holly Holm, who's was the champ in the UFC for a while, and you start trying to figure out what makes these guys tick. I mean, obviously Thor is a giant and has some kind of alien DNA in his body somewhere. But then you look at Holly Holm, and it was funny because I saw a picture of her the other day, and she just lost to Cyborg, which she might as well have been fighting, Mike Tyson. But you look at her, and she has that power in those legs, and you saw her, she was like in a mini skirt, and it's like, holy fuck, look at her legs. I mean, they look like something off a racehorse, big giant quads and calves, and it's like, I don't want to get kicked with that leg, So these people that are just put on this earth to do certain things.
And it gets me to just the mindset of, I'm a huge person with the mentality of the strength mentality and just that top level athlete mentality of they're wired a little bit different. Yeah. And I think part of it is they don't understand, or they refuse to admit limitations on things. I've had numerous clients come in to the gym. I can't do this. I can't do that. Stop. Mm-hmm. I don't care what you can't do. What can you do? Let's start what you can do, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Because what you can't do, I can't do anything with
it. It's no interest to me.
What do you have to do? Yeah. Oh, great. You can't do this. Well, then we're not going to do anything. We're going to sit here and we're going to talk and, talk about our feelings.
Yeah.
And it's not going to do anything. But it's like, all right, can you do that? Can you take a step? Okay, well, you took one step. You can take two.
Yeah.
All right, can you bend over and pick up this weight? Okay, well, then let's add a little bit more. Okay, at that point in time, something starts to feel funky. Okay, well, let's change up what we're doing and manipulate it towards the goal that we want to have come forth.
Yeah.
And it's truly, I feel, the mindset of, Courtney Detwell ran that big foot race, 240 miles. She did it. But nobody told her she couldn't go and beat the men and everybody.
Yeah.
She just went and did it because it was, nobody thought that she was going to win everything, but she trained diligently over years.
Yeah.
You look at her history of training. It's not like everybody's like, oh my gosh, she came out of nowhere. I'm like, dude, she's been running and doing endurance sports since she was younger.
And she just beat a bunch of guys again.
And she just kept going. But nobody told her she couldn't.
Yeah.
So she just went and did it. Hathor goes and does all these amazing things because Magnus or Magnuson saw him and said, I'm going to make you into a champion.
Yeah.
And nobody told him he couldn't. So he just went and did it. A lot of times we get in our own ways, or you hear, your friends talking. Like you said, I don't like to go and hang out with normal people because they're going to bring you down. Oh, isn't that bad for you? Deadlifting, I heard that hurts your back. Don't your knees hurt? How do you get up in the morning? Man, I just can't do that. Dude, you people piss me off.
Right.
Like, I don't want to hang out with you because you're sitting there and it's like, I'm going to sit here and watch TV, watch these NFL players, and then I'm going to look at you and go, yeah, but you do all that and it hurts.
Yeah.
Screw you. I'm going to the gym because now I'm pissed that you just told me I can't do anything.
It's the same occupation. It's the same obligations. There's nothing that these people have anything to share, and just go. I don't care what it is. Go out and do something. If you are the best poker player on the planet, I'm going to want to be interested in what you do,
Get after it and go. And so
have a passion for something.
Yeah. And so I look at it as it's truly the whole mindset of, I want to just do the best that I can. And then I'm going to when I get done doing the best that I can, I'm going to come back and figure out a way to do it better.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to come back and figure out a way to do better. Even
and with you, if you've had enough of it, you're going to move. I've done that.
Yeah, I did that.
Let's
go on. It was fun. Yep. All right, cool, sweet. Did that. Had a great time doing it. What else is out there that's going to challenge me in another realm and take me to another level of understanding where I can experiment with myself and push my body as far as I can.
Right.
And then I'm going to come back and find a way to push it even more. And so it was like, all right, the Ironman, everybody talks about it. Let's go out and do it. Yeah, I wasn't winning it the first time, but it's like I'm going. And it was kind of fun to be running the marathon and on the bike and have people go, oh, shit, look at the size of him.
You're probably a giant.
like Sasquatch going through. I'm at the half Ironman. People are like, holy shit, get out of his way. He's going to eat you. We're like, I got this great photo of me like running. I'm running out of the transition from the bike to the run. And there's this guy that, he's got his like shirt up, but he is just like, you can just count the ribs down.
Yeah, right.
And I'm just coming by him, and it just, it'd be like Hathor standing next to me.
Sure.
Just like, you're just like, there's a difference between these two individuals. And so that's kind of fun there. And it's just like, let's see where it can go. Let's see what I can do.
And you're still actively doing it?
Still actively doing it. I've got the big event for this year, again, going back to altitude, going a little higher. I'm going to head out to Leadville, Colorado. They have their famous race is the Leadville 100. They have a 100-mile trail run and a 100-mile mountain bike race. Not doing those.
Okay. Jesus Christ.
But I am going back to Leadville. They have my brother and I, during our marathon of the Ironman, we had some time to talk. So we were like, what do we want to do next year? As we're finishing an Ironman, and it was like, let's do a 50-mile trail race, but let's do it someplace cool. And it felt like a decent progression of our skills.
Yeah, well, I guess more than 100 miles.
So there's a Leadville 50-mile trail run called the Silver Rush 50. Mm-hmm. So that was on the calendar. And then naturally I looked online. I was like, they've got a mountain bike race, 50 miles. It's the day before. Let's do both. So I'm doing a 50-mile mountain bike race on Saturday and then doing a 50-mile trail run on Sunday.
That's ridiculous.
It's in Leadville, Colorado. The race starts at 10,000 feet of elevation and crosses 12,000 feet 4 different times. So this one truly is at altitude. 5,000 feet in Denver, 5,500 is, and then same thing with Boulder is minor compared to where this one is going.
Wow.
So this one, yes, I am thinking and worried a little bit more about the altitude than I was in Boulder last year. But biking, of the disciplines, biking's a stronger suit for me. Obviously, I'm not like some professional cyclist, but I enjoy the biking, so that one's not too bad. The running, continues to improve. I'm doing a 50K here in March over in Worcester, the trail run. I did a trail marathon.
Do you have pain when you run, being as big as you are?
That has been one that I've really had to moderate with my training. Mm-hmm. And I am one that is a true believer in that I am much more proficient if I'm injury-free than if I train through injury. And so I will lower my run volume if I feel injury come on. I am a huge proponent of don't train through injury, train around it to make yourself better. So I've, my ankles, my feet, when I first started getting back into running, were really, I had to really moderate. A low volume of running to build up that tendon ligament strength in my lower body. It's like I was strong for lifting, but running is death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Yeah,
where it's that constant pounding, and so I really had the trail running is nicer because it's a little bit softer surface because it's not concrete that I'm running on, and so that has helped with the distance. But it truly has been a build-up process, and it's still one that I feel I'm still constructing that structural integrity to handle. The Leadville cutoff is 14 hours, so I'm planning on, I'm going to be on my feet for 14 hours nonstop, moving in a forward direction.
Less than that's a bonus, right?
Exactly. And
we run a 5K here every year, and that's the most painful thing I do all year, and it's like, I'll do it in 20 minutes to an hour, whatever, or a half hour, whatever it is. And if I did a circuit training thing out there in the gym for 20 minutes, I'd be fine. But the pain in my ankles and feet, and knees, and hips knocks me out for days.
Yeah, it's death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah,
and that is truly it. And so I've had to factor that into my training, and because it was my cardiovascular system from the biking and swimming and some of the other events. That was my first initial okay, I need to build up my cardiovascular system. So I'm on the rowing machine, using elliptical. I'm on the bike, swimming. But I had to moderate the running, and I still have to watch how much volume, so I track my weekly mileage and make sure my weekly mileage is jumping up incrementally over time, and not, I'm going to go out and just have a huge jump up in mileage and think like I'm going to survive.
Yeah, you figure that's the only one that's pounding too.
It's
everything
impact.
else.
So everything else is I'm working muscles, but it's not the repetitive impact. And so, and then, using, I can run trails for longer distances because it is a softer surface. Even if it's a hard-packed trail, it's still going to be softer than any kind of blacktop out there.
Yeah, I mean, as much as running uphill would probably suck, I guess the impact would be a little bit lower.
Downhill is the worst.
Right,
running downhill, you want to blow up your quads,
right,
and hurt some things. Run downhill,
because that quad's acting as a knee stopper.
That's a break
and so extension.
So with knowing that the Leadville 50 race, I'm going to have just about 8,000 feet of climbing and descending.
Yeah,
that I've actively been finding large hills just to run down.
Drive up, run down.
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially that's what you're looking at doing. I'll run / hike up, but I need long downhill roads to run down to prepare my body for. There's a stretch. The last 10 miles of the race is all downhill.
Right.
So you're talking about a 10-mile downhill. Whew. If you got a bike, that's nice.
Right.
When you're running, downhills are worse than uphills running.
I've heard that. Yeah.
And so that's a huge thing that I need to prepare my body for. But it's the endurance sports also get into the mental side of things as well. Of you're out there for a long time,
probably talking to yourself the whole time.
You're gonna get into every emotional state. You're going to be happy, sad, depressed. You name it, you'll find it on an endurance.
I go through that on the 400-meter loops around the building week.
Yeah, exactly. You can get into that. So that's kind of fun. It's another just sort of feather in the cap.
And you'll work this just like you did the other ones until you're bored with it.
Keep going and be like, what else can I do? And where else can I go? And it's been fun to meet the people that I have in the journey and stuff, and it's kind of cool.
That's what it's all about, right?
Say, hey man, I know the strongest guys in every attribute.
Yeah, right. Your cell phone has to be filled with some incredible things.
People are like, oh man, did you see Game of Thrones the Mountain? I'm like, you want to call him?
Yeah, right.
Here you go. Here's his number. It's like,
he was the one guy in Iceland I didn't get to meet. When we went to Iceland, I was so psyched to get to meet Magnus, and I met Annie Thor's daughter. And I never got to meet Thor. I thought he's probably shooting or something because everyone was at the Highland Games. So
it's crazy the guys that are out there doing stuff. And like you said, Matt Vincent, it's like, I've stayed with him and his wife at their place down in Louisiana. I always tell people, it's like, dude, I can travel the country and the world and don't have to book a hotel.
You always have a couch to stay on, right?
I can just call somebody up. I know when I was looking at traveling overseas and we were going to have a layover in England. I called up, Mark Felix. I was like, hey, where you at? And I was like, hey, can we stop by and just, I'll take you out to lunch or something and stuff. But we had done a bunch of comps together, and so we stay in touch and just kind of, he's a great one where it's like, if I need deadlift advice, I'm like, I'll give Mark a call.
That's probably what I miss the most about Highland Games. Is the people you got to hang. Once a year, you get to hang out with these people in whatever city you're in, and you get that same party over and over again.
Yeah, but it's we have fun and, getting together, even with like Bert and Richard Soren. And it's like we talk about it. And it's like, the Arnold was we'd always go to Boca de Beppo for a big dinner. And, it's just like you get everybody
around. I'm going to get back down there this year. I haven't been down to Arnold in a couple of years. And
But it's like a family reunion.
Right.
It's a family reunion of sorts. And if you get away from the expo of just give me all the supplements and how tight can I wear my T-shirt and get ILS syndrome and freaking
skin tank or string tank tops in February.
How much of a pissed off face can I wear for all day long so I can prove to my girlfriend that I'm a badass?
Yeah. We were at, me and Pulcinella were walking around the Arnold one year and, just like you described, all these guys, with their girlfriends, they're all jacked and tan and everything. And there's one guy sitting over in a corner with his wife, and he's got like, just a regular shirt on, like Harley shirt on and jeans, look like a, probably like 50-year-old man or whatever. And we looked over at him, and I'm like, that's fucking Ron Simcoe, who was like the first guy to throw 70 feet with the high school shot and 70 feet with the college shot in the same year, coming out of high school into college. And he was an absolute animal, and you wouldn't know this guy.
Yeah.
We go running up to him, we're like, Ron! He's like, he was so happy somebody recognized him, Here's all these dudes walking around. Here's probably the most powerful dude you're ever going to see right here. And nobody even knew who he was.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I always say, it's like the really strong ones don't have to fake it. Their numbers don't lie. Yeah. That's the thing with the strength sports is you can look up and see what any of us have done.
Right.
And there it is.
Yeah, especially again now with social media, it's all over there, and it's pretty easy to find out who does what. Which again brings you back to the YouTube channel. You're like, wow, how is this guy famous again? But
he's doing it. Click the buttons.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. But like I said, more power to him for doing it. So how's the gym going?
Going well. I mean, like you said, we've got athletes of all types going. Our powerlifting team is fairly strong. We've got 12 to 15 members that we are just sending places.
Yeah.
We had, I think, 3 guys down at Nationals this past year for the USAPL Nationals.
Yeah.
And we've got 5 others that I know for this year, that's their goal is, hey, qualify for Nationals.
Yeah.
So it's awesome to be like, all right, Worcester, Ohio, and we've got a team of 7 individuals that are capable of going down to Nationals.
And for people who don't know, Worcester's about the size of my coffee mug.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a tiny little
2,500 people.
And probably 1,500 of those are Amish?
Yeah, we got 25,000 people, and a lot of them are Amish, and it's just it's a small town, so it's pretty awesome that we've cultivated an environment where it's a microcosm of the whole state of Ohio, where it's like, all right, we just build strong people, and it's nice when people come into the gym. They're like, oh yeah, if you just want to go exercise, go here. If you want to get better, go see Andrew.
Right.
And so there's a distinction between just a gym and a performance center.
Right.
And
now, do you run classes too, or just?
I've got a few groups of people that run, but I just don't get into a whole lot of the class setup. It's I look at getting into some classes. I'll probably do some kids fitness stuff this summer and get into that more. That's a lot of fun, but I really like diving into the individual and just being like, all right, you want to get better? Here's what we're going to do. Yeah. And let's get after it.
Yeah, there's an art to that, right? That programming and tweaking of people. And it's hard because the majority of what we do here is classes, but that's a way for me to make sure that everybody in here has the proper system and they're on a path.
Yep.
But it gives you less time to look at each individual person and say, okay, this is what we need to do. And I do that. I'll say, hey, Bob, you need to work on these muscles and do these exercises. But it's up to him to actually go and do that,
Because it's, those are the things that we don't like to do.
Yeah.
If
you suck at something, you're not going to do much of it.
What's my excuse to not do this?
Yeah. And that's where I get in my own head, because I'll do that to myself, and then I'll call myself a pussy, and then go do more of it.
Yeah.
But I think that's why I was successful over the years was I had that mentality where I was constantly pissed off at myself for being a pussy.
Yeah,
you know?
And so I've got to fix it and hold myself accountable.
Right.
And
if more people realized they were pussies,
it's very true. I mean, yeah, it's just like I'm not as great as my social media makes me feel like.
Sure, right.
You know? So let's go out and do something about this. You know, I can sit here and bitch and moan all I want about how life sucks and the world's not fair, or I can have some reflection and go, oh, maybe I'm not so awesome.
Right.
Maybe that's the problem. You know, it's not the world's problem. It's me that's the problem, and I need to go out there and actually improve upon it.
Yeah.
And
what are you doing when you're not training? Are you reading? Are you?
I've got on my desk bed right now. I've got the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius.
I read that just a couple months ago.
I mean, you know, it's that always soaking in knowledge.
Yeah.
You know, I've got that next to my desk bed on my iPad right now. I've got the Jack Daniels running method. You know, before that, you know, I had, you know, swimming is a weakness of mine, so I had Secret Swim Speed book, and then I've got Mountain Guide climbing manual on the coffee table.
Right.
Because if I'm not lifting, I'm usually in the mountains, you know, climbing something or trying to just recenter myself up in the hills. I'll be up in on Whiteface Mountain here in the end of February.
Where's that?
So it's up Lake Placid. It's actually a ski resort, and so but we'll hike up we'll skin up the backside of it with skis, and then we'll jump on the ski resort and ski down. So, but in order to do that, we'll start at like 3-4 in the morning, climb up, you know, and last time I checked, it was during that last cold spell. I checked their forecast, and it was like -20 with 50-mile-an-hour winds up there. So I was like, let's go. So,
I love outdoor stuff, but I'd like to be in the southern hemisphere. That's for sure. At least south of Mason-Dixon line. I mean,
much like everything else, I'll take it and take it to the farthest level I can. And, you know, where can we go? So, so always, you know, the pleasure reading, I guess, is informative, in some sense.
Yeah, I'm a huge history guy, so I've got a lot of that stuff on the shelves, and I don't get into that many training manuals as much. I had I had them all at one time, and we had a fire, and most of them got destroyed. I didn't replace many of them, but some of them I did. But I get into a lot of history and a lot of alternative histories and stuff like that. But I'm starting to get back into some fiction stuff now too, which is fun. I gotta keep reading up.
You got to be reading something. You know, you can't just.
And I ask people that a lot in here, and it's funny because I'll ask people that question. You know, what are you reading? Especially the young kids, and they'll be like, nothing. But then 9 times out of 10, I'll get a text message afterwards, and it'll say something like, "What should I be reading?" You know, and
it's like, and it's history is a great, it sets the foundation for it. You got to know. Yeah. And I was, before, I got into a lot of the strength history, just looking back and getting into the Edwin Sandow, George Hackenschmidt, and just reading about like, all right, what were these guys doing before? Like we had a scientific knowledge of what we needed to do to get strong, and you just look at what they were doing, like the squats and deadlifts and cleans and presses and stuff. The more we think that this stuff is, it's like, these guys are doing this back in the 1900s.
We're about to launch a apparel brand that started out from people asking, "Hey, when are you going to ever find Savage shirts?" But a lot of the theme of that will be like the old time strongman, the old time bare knuckle boxers, that kind of stuff.
I really just appreciate the history of strength, and just the history of physical culture, of what it is that we do now. And I mean, you look back at, Game of Thrones, movie 300, and you got these societies that were built around a foundation of being strong,
right?
And having, a physical prowess about them. You look at a lot of CrossFit started with guys in the special ops community that wanted to train. They got together, and it was basically hold my beer. I can do this better than you.
Yeah, right.
Type mentality, and now it's all across the U.S. because people are, you got the Spartan races, Tough Runners. People want to go and be tough, and they're doing it, and it's on social media. But I was like, do you realize, that's not new?
Yeah.
The social media aspect of flashiness is new, but physical culture is so much more and has been around for decades and centuries before that.
Right.
Yeah, we've brought it to this forefront. We've mass produced it out there. But when we look at the foundations of the movements and the obstacles that we're undertaking, it's pretty cool to see the history of that.
One of my favorite scenes,
try to be a part of it,
in history is at Thermopylae when one of the Persian scouts came over top of the hill to kind of spy on the Spartans before the battle, and he looks up and they're doing gymnastics and working out and making sure their hair's braided, and he goes back to Xerxes and just says, these guys are a bunch of queers, what are they doing their hair, and they're doing gymnastics. And when a Spartan king who had kind of jumped ship had actually been thrown out, and he'd come over to Xerxes' side and said, you don't understand. These guys are preparing to die. This is they're going to make sure they're going to leave the best corpse they possibly can, and they didn't get that, but they found out after 2 days what these guys were all about. Yeah, it led to that professional soldier class that did a lot of damage and kept the Persians out for ever.
Yeah. It's good. That battle, those things. The world's a whole different place.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We're going to go talk to Dr. Paul Iverson again at CASE next month, and he's going to talk about Thermopylae and the battle for the West and how important that was. And
that was the gateway to the Persians conquering all of Europe.
Right.
Yeah. If that battle changes, Roman history
doesn't exist.
Right. Is forever changed. Our society today is based off of Roman and Greek.
Right. We can
ways of life.
We can all be worshiping Ahura Mazda.
When you look at how, it's that moment of time, we all know it from a movie now.
Right.
But
people get so irritated at that movie too, and it drives me nuts. It's not historically accurate. No, but there was Thor Ragnarok. Yeah. The Hulk was not Norse mythology. It's cool. Just watch it, enjoy it.
It's entertaining.
Right.
But if you want to dive into it, you can dive into it.
The story's fascinating. I've got 7 books on my shelf just on Thermopylae.
Yeah. And you can dive into the history of it and see, yes, that was a snapshot in an entertaining way of promoting it.
Have you read Pressfield's Gates of Fire?
Yeah, Gates of Fire. Yeah, I got it on my shelf. And that was
fantastic.
And it was, book. Yeah, but the movie led me to Gates of Fire.
Right.
Yeah, so it was like, all right, the movie intrigued me enough to dive deeper into it instead of just walking out of the movie going, oh yeah, I know what happened there. It was like, no, let me read and research some more and research into the people that do know what went on, and let's what was digest.
What's amazing is a lot of those one-liners that were in the movie. I guess we'll have our battle in the shade, and kicking the guy into the well. And that was all
that's how they felt. That's how they acted, and that's the society was set up as a warring society.
Yeah,
and their mindsets were cultivated from a young age to think about battle and dying,
discipline,
with your sword or with your shield or on it,
right?
That was, that's it.
Yeah, there was a discipline there and a lifestyle dedicated to war for the first time, really, where these guys weren't going to go and be farmers afterwards. They had the slave class to do that for them. These guys were put on this earth to wage war, and the only way you got a tombstone in Sparta was either die in battle or die in childbirth.
Yeah, that was it.
Those are the most two important gifts you could give to society.
Yep.
Really looking forward to going and talk to Dr. Paul about that.
Because you'll get an even deeper understanding of it all. So that's exciting to see and get that philosophy and deeper understanding of, okay, because I'm a warrior. Well, dude, you're in the gym for 30 minutes a day.
Right.
All right, come on. You drove a climate-controlled vehicle here. You've got 3 hot meals at home, a roof over your head.
Yeah.
Life is easy. Like,
you're just
calm down.
Yep.
Let's that's what Matt Vincent and I always talk about is like, let's really break down what we do here.
Right.
Like, I tell people, it's like, Planet Fitness made fun of it. That's what I do. I pick things up and I set them back down.
And it's a vital part of your life, and it makes you healthy and happy and sane.
Let's be honest. I'm not curing cancer here. I'm not doing anything. But if I can, like you said, and we've talked about, if I can influence somebody else, the younger generation or older, that comes into the gym and wants to make themselves better, we're doing our job.
Yeah.
Can I take the lessons learned from Thermopylae, from Sparta, from all these other
from a heavy squat?
Can I take them and then relate them to there and say, okay, that was heavy squat. You struggled. You did this.
Right.
Take that outside. My job is to not make you just strong in here in the gym.
Right.
But when you walk out that door, are you a better human being?
Right. Yep.
Are you more fit to handle the challenges that are going to come out?
Right.
If I can do that, then I'm doing my job. It's great when we can go win awards on competitions, and believe me, I love that.
Yeah, no one's going to remember that when you're gone. They'll remember the effect you had on people.
Exactly. So it's a little deeper understanding than initially it was just I just want to be as big and as famous and YouTube famous as I can be through lifting, but then it's like, okay, let's take it even another step. Let's still be strong. Let's still be enduring, but let's actually try to change something for the better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if I can get you under a heavy squat and you want to quit, and I say 3 more and you can do it, I'm like, okay. Hey, you told me what you couldn't do.
Right.
Now I said now you're doing. And that's what we want to do is every day come in and do a little bit more than you did before.
Push that marker out a little bit further, right?
Yep. And keep striving for it. And that's essentially what it is.
Enough said. Man, this has been fantastic.
Oh, it's been awesome.
We'll have to do it again sometime.
Yeah, we most certainly will, yeah.
All right, where are you at on Instagram and Facebook?
Instagram, it's DS_outside, Durniat Strength Outside, because I'm doing a lot more outdoors than I am indoors sometimes. And then, Facebook, Andrew Durniat. Durniat Strength page is out there as well. Twitter's the same thing, DS Outside. So DS Outside and Durniat Strength, and
awesome.
Our hashtag, and saying the limits are for the other people.
I dig it. Finally, before we sign off, Max straps, Max barbell. Check out Steve McCracken's wrist straps. They are badass. He supplied a bunch of them for Odin's Challenge, gave them out to all the winners. Things are overly engineered and super awesome, and you should totally check them out. If you can't find them online, get a hold of me, and I will get you in touch with Steve, and we'll get you some awesome wrist straps. So, thanks again for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. We'll definitely do this again. Go out and do something awesome. This has been the Refined Savage. See ya. Hey guys, one more thing before we go. I hope you're enjoying the show, and if you are, please head over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review. Stop in at our Instagram page at Refined Savage Podcast and like us there, and search for us on Facebook at the Refined Savage Podcast. Also, if you have a product or service you'd like mentioned on the show, contact us at blinddoggym@gmail.com. Let's discuss your idea and we'll see if we can help. Finally, if you love the show and want to see it continue, please consider donating to the show. $1 an episode would be a huge help. Just head on over to blinddoggym.com, look for that PayPal button where it says pay your dues, and donate. Any amount helps. Thanks again for listening to the show. Now go on out there and do something awesome.